Okay, today I have a very special guest with me. His name is Ross Givens, and he is the leading authority on insider trading, legal insider trading. Ever since the lockdowns, I've been exposing politicians for using their position to gather information and then make themselves rich by buying stocks. It's agitating to me, and I'm just done with it. At this point, if you can't beat them, join them, because the truth is, you can't get mega rich on a $175,000 annual salary. So we know that these politicians are getting bribes, kickbacks to family members, special contracts, but they're trading stocks based on closed door meeting information. And we want to open that up to the rest of the public. Now, Ross Givens is a former vice president of investment management at JP Morgan Chase, the big bank. And he's been teaching people like you and me how to trade their own money for over a decade. He runs a trading service called Insider Effects, where he recommends stocks based on insider buying. His service has produced annual returns as high as 220% and individual stock returns of 1,921%. Ever since I met Ross, I've wanted to bring him on the show, help you guys understand this, because the information that these members of Congress and these CEOs get is not proprietary, but if you use it, you can make bigger money with these trades, just like these clowns in Washington, D.C. Now, not only is Ross exposing these crooked politicians for who they really are, using our tax dollars and inside information to get rich, but he's also going to show you how to profit off of a special loophole that gives you access to this information. So anyway, everything we're going to go over is 100% legal, so you're not going to end up in trouble like Martha Stewart or anything like that. This is purely based on education. So Ross Givens, thank you so much for coming on our show today.
Hey, my pleasure. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. By the way, for those that are joining us, Ross is going to do a more in-depth training this coming Thursday, the 24th at 3 p.m. I'm going to be on there because I want to learn this stuff and use it to my advantage for my family. But Ross, if you would, let's get started with these dirty politicians and what they're doing.
Sure.
I mean, I want to dive into the loopholes that they're using to make money. But let's lay the groundwork first. I think when anybody hears the word politician and insider trading, immediately they go to former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi,
of course,
making hundreds of millions of dollars during her career from inside information, fighting so that politicians can continue to use inside information. So is she really the massive insider trader that I think she is and the media says she is?
I would say she might be bigger than you realize, but yes, it's 100% true. And I've done the deep dive. She is by far the biggest insider trader in Washington based on what we've seen. Now, some reports have been published. I know you and I talked about this before, showing she had annual returns in the last few years as high as 69%. Now, to put that in perspective, that's better than the track records of Warren Buffett, of George Soros, of Peter Lynch, even the Medallion Fund, which is the most successful hedge fund of all time. So it is simply not possible to perform that well in these stocks without the kind of access to information that she has.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would love to outperform Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch, but without this information, it's like next to impossible unless you're just reading the stock market every single day and you're a genius when it comes to that kind of stuff. So if you wouldn't mind, for the newbies in my audience that want to be involved in trading, make more money, who does this? Who prosecutes this? And how often are these members of Congress involved?
Yeah, so, well, let's start with the basics. I mean, insider trading, the definition of that is when you buy a stock based on material, non-public information. So, for example, let's say a pharmaceutical company was about to get FDA approval on a new drug they're testing. Now, It gets approved, it's going to get sold. That means tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars in profits for that drug company. So when that news becomes public, the stock is going to skyrocket. Well, if you knew this information before everyone else, before it was announced, you could buy the stock early and then make a bunch of money when it shoots up. That, in a nutshell, is insider trading. You are using material, non-public information. That's the big thing. In this case, a pending FDA drug approval to make money in the market. Now, as far as who does it, I mean, this is not going to surprise you. You reveal this stuff all the time. But politicians are some of the most blatant offenders. And this all really started coming to light, at least to for the public after COVID, because Congress was briefed on the COVID-19 virus before the rest of us, of course. But they knew how bad it was in China. They knew how fast it was spreading to the U.S. They knew what actions the government planned to take to stop it, the lockdowns, the closing businesses, all these unconstitutional dictator-like moves we couldn't have imagined. And so when they did that, the stock market tanked. It fell 30% in a month, which is just unheard of. But it turns out several senators sold all their stocks right before the market crashed. I mean, millions of dollars each, while the everyday American is stuck holding the bag. And that really made a lot of people mad and kind of turned folks on to this really unfair advantage politicians have with the information they have access to. Now, you asked who prosecutes it. I mean, it's really a joke when it comes to the politicians. Congress tried to pass something like this called the Stock Act back in 2012. And all that did was require them to report their trades publicly within 45 days. So it's designed to prevent insider trading. It hasn't. It doesn't. And God forbid they violate it. You know what the fine is for this, Stephen? A $200 penalty. All right. So, you got someone like Pelosi who's made upwards of $5 million per trade. Do you think she cares about a $200 slap on the wrist? None of them do. So they just ignore it.
Yeah, that's exactly what infuriated me during lockdowns when I reported on this is, they pay next to nothing. They have all this inside information. People like Bill Gates, makes $500 million, knows exactly when to sell. Pelosi making all these millions and millions of dollars, and then they just get like a slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, the rest of us, we'd be sent to jail if we used insider trading like this. So if there is no jail time or consequences, why wouldn't Nancy Pelosi exchange a $200 fine for the right to make $5 million?
Sure.
But I did read recently that I believe it's Senator Josh Hawley and a few others. They're actually trying to block Pelosi. Well, every member of Congress, but Pelosi was the one that was catching the most attention with the media. Is this a good solution? Is this going to actually be put into law, or are the very people that benefit from this the ones that pass the law? Right. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been a long time overdue. Right? If you're a sitting member of Congress, you should not be trading stocks. You just have access to too much information. As you said, Hawley has proposed a bill, and it's hilarious because he named it the Pelosi Act. They love their acronyms in D.C. It stands for Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments Act. But this would essentially prevent all politicians from owning individual stocks while they're in office. They can own index funds or the whole market, but you're not going to pick and choose. And I would love this to get passed because it would really cement Nancy Pelosi's legacy as someone who spent decades in office to enrich herself while not giving a crap about the American people. And I'm sorry. I believe that's how she deserves to be remembered. This woman, as you mentioned, has an annual salary of $223,000, yet a net worth of $160 million. And the vast majority of that, at least $140 million, she made from investments while she was in office. So it's really just, it's infuriating, like you said. Now, is it likely to become law? I'm not holding my breath. There's been some other bans proposed before. Last time Congress did it, get this, Pelosi used all her tricks to kill this bill. So first thing she does, she sponsors the bill, looking like the good person. Well, the reason she did this is now she can put all kinds of complicated rules in it to make sure nobody wants to vote for it. Then she introduced the bill like 2 days before Congress went on break, so it never even came to a vote. Now, like you said, these people, they're out for themselves, plain and simple, especially a lot of these radical Democrats like Pelosi. They keep us distracted with their woke nonsense and their 27 genders and what pronouns they're putting on their social media. Meanwhile, while everybody's looking over here, they're playing the system and they're making millions for themselves.
Yeah, they're notorious for this kind of stuff where they jam these bills in, or they get on the committee so that they can block them for their corporate donors. I mean,
Exactly.
Even right now, we can't even get money to Hawaii or Florida unless money goes to Ukraine first. I'm like,
hey, what are you talking about, man? He gave him $700, Stephen. Living high on the hog over there.
Yeah. Oh, you lost your mother, your son, and your entire house. Here's $700. I mean,
I think, and there's only 3,500 households. It came out to like what, $1.5 million or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's insulting.
All right, now let's switch gears. Let's talk about what you're doing, or been doing for several years, to turn the tables, so to speak, and profit from this information. Right? They say that success leaves clues, and you have become a master at just following the footprints and where the money's going. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and it's beautifully put. He's exactly right. I'm following footprints, and your initial reaction when people hear about this stuff is, well, I just want to follow their trades. When Pelosi buys, I'm going to buy, etc. And if you look on Twitter, there's actually accounts dedicated just to tracking her trades. It's called like Pelosi Tracker or something. Problem is, of course, as I mentioned, Congress only has to report their trades every 45 days. They don't always even follow that rule. So that's just too much lag time. 9 times out of 10, month and a half, 2 months later, you've missed the move. But there is another group that puts Congress's numbers to shame, and that is these corporate insiders, your CEOs, CFOs, board members, vice presidents. These people can freely trade their own company stock, even though they have access to all sorts of inside information about that company. So just think about it. I mean, they know when they're about to report good earnings numbers. They know how well sales are doing. They know when they're about to launch a new product, a new service. They know they're going to get bought out at a higher price. Yet with all that information, they are free to buy their own company stock in their own account with their own money, with essentially zero risk of being prosecuted for insider trading. And I know we don't have the time to go into all the details today, but these executives have incredible track records. They regularly buy their stocks before they go up 200, 500, even 1,000% or more. But the part most people don't know is we can see when they're buying. Unlike politicians, these corporate insiders report their trades within 48 hours. And those records are available to you and me and all of your viewers immediately. So we've just figured out a way, like you said, to follow the clues. We can scan every single day at any time, see what stocks are insiders buying right now, and we just follow along. We buy the same stock, we piggyback their trades, and we've had a ton of success doing it.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And as you know, being in the stock market for many, many, many years, there's a huge difference between 48 hours and 45 days.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to trading. So is this some sort of database, or how can people access this information and follow those clues?
Yeah, it's an online database. Yes, it is free for anyone to access. Problem is, most people don't know where to find it. It is somewhat archaic. It is on sec.gov. You got to dig through. There's a lot of different filings. They just dump everything in here. So the quarterly filings, the annuals, all this stuff. So you have to kind of know what to look for and how to decipher it. You got to really know how to use the information properly. And that's the whole reason I'm holding this free training session. We've done a couple of these before, and people have just been wowed by it. We've changed a lot of lives with this. So we're going to do another one this Thursday, as you mentioned, August 24th at 3:00 Eastern time. And to sign up, all you got to do, Stephen, I think you put a link below this video, if I'm not mistaken. You click on that, you put in your information. And as a bonus, everyone who registers, we're going to send you our latest stock picks. You're going to get instant access. I'm going to give you the full research report that includes the company name, the ticker symbol, all the details and what insiders are buying, exactly how to execute the trade, everything you need to know. So for you guys who are interested in this, and I hope you are, please be sure to put in your contact info when you register so we can send that to you. The training session is, of course, online. Doesn't cost a dime. Everyone can join. The only thing is there is a cap on how many can attend. I think it's 1,000 attendees. The software we use does cap out. So I would recommend go ahead and register now, but I promise it's going to be worth your time.
Yeah, thank you. And there's no cost. It's just a free training that's going to go through everything. I actually got my packet this morning of the latest stock pick, and
Oh, good.
I was pretty blown away at how detailed you guys are and why you think it's going to move in certain directions. So I'm excited for people in my YouTube community to see that. I don't want to take any more of your time, Ross. I'll make sure to leave that link down below to the Thursday, August 24th live training. I'm going to be there. I want my family to learn this. I want my friends to learn this. I actually did make one trade based off of Pelosi that made me money. So I know this works, but now I want to see what these CEOs and politicians are doing. So I'm excited. And I just want to say thank you again. I know how busy you are. We went back and forth to get you on. So thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to that training.